welcome guys to another episode of Open Spaces with Sierra Bernice. And y'all, I'm actually super excited because we got a guest. Um, and I wish I had some background music. I'm really excited because we have a guest, and this is actually the first guest for season 7. This is actually the first episode of season 7 as well. I made sure that I waited and everything. But I got my girl on here, Chatty Wellness. We actually met through Threads, y'all. The power of networking and using social media is just everything. Today, as you guys can see for the title, we are talking about when healing feels heavy, lightness in the process. Because a lot of the times people don't realize we all go through things and we all experience different parts of life. And, we can never say, like, in a situation where something happens, we can never say, oh, well, I would be able to get through that because your situation may not be like somebody else's situation and vice versa. Their resilience may not be as strong as yours. So we're really going to talk about healing, just dealing with things that have occurred through our lives. And Chatty, she's going to actually shed some light in on her life, and what has helped her get through the process of healing and overall overcoming her challenges. So I do want to welcome y'all, Chatty Wellness, and then we're going to dive right into the episode because I don't want to waste no time. I know we're going to be here because we got a lot to talk about. But Chatty, do you want to introduce yourself? Just give them a brief summary of who you are, what you got going on, and we'll dig into some more.
Sure. Hi. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. This is actually my first podcast guest experience because I have my own podcast. So
Okay.
I'm so glad that I could be here. And I in the first episode, like, look at that. And my birthday's on the first. Like, this is all aligned. Anyway,
Listen, yes.
my name is, I go by Chatty or Coach Chatty. I'm a life coach and the owner, founder and owner of Chatty Wellness, which is my life coaching business. It's just an online business where I service people with general life coaching services. I do wellness workshops. I work with businesses, families, and corporate businesses, sorry, and individuals. And yeah, we met on Threads, and I think social media, yeah, what you said is true. The power is crazy because I would not be sitting here right now
Yeah.
otherwise. I'm excited for this. I love what your podcast stands for. I definitely support all of that, and that's literally what my business is about as well. So I love that. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so happy to hear you. And before we started recording the podcast, y'all, we gave y'all a disclaimer. If y'all hear any background noise and things like that, because we are both moms.
Yes.
Listen, we gotta do what we gotta do, but y'all gonna get this information and y'all gonna get this podcast episode. We're gonna try to limit the distractions. We tried our best, but we are only human. Okay. So y'all gotta give us some grace. All right, so I want to dive right into it. I'm a big person when it comes to healing. I've myself have been on a journey of healing, and sometimes I never even knew I was healing, but I was just showing up and doing things. But on the podcast, we really like to talk about healing because I don't feel like not enough people know about healing and what it actually is and what it looks like. So for the first question, I just want to ask you, can you share a moment in your life when you realized healing was necessary for you?
Well, I think for me, the first time that I realized that, like, not like you said, it's like a day-to-day thing where you might think about something you want to get over, but you don't really go do the work to get over it.
Right.
The first time that ever happened for me was I was in a relationship. So a lot of my relationships have been really horrible while I was dating men. At this time, I currently don't date men. So we'll get into why and like how that kind of transpired.
Okay.
And the first time that yeah, ever really felt like I needed healing was because of a man. And which is crazy, but I feel like so relatable, especially to women. Like we
Yeah.
just have
I
this
was gonna say that's literally my life.
it's so common, exactly. So that was I've gone through so many things with different men and just kind of thought I was okay and went to another relationship. And
Hmm.
that's where the problem was. And then I finally got in this relationship where I felt so depressed and I would be crying all the time and just not feeling worthy and still wanting to hang on and not really knowing why. And finally let it go. And when I let it go, I realized like I can't go into something else. Like there's something about me that's attracting these kind of guys or this kind of energy because I know I'm worthy, like, or do I? So I had
Right.
to really start like learning who I was because I had my first child at 19. And
Okay.
so this relationship I'm talking about where I had to heal was in my late 20s.
Okay.
So this is like way after I'm a mom and way after I've been in different relationships where I felt like I was healed. So yeah, I definitely had to take some time and really just learn who I am, who I want to be. That's how I got into my social media and kind of built my own life. And yeah, that definitely helped me heal, just knowing who I am because that's how I attracted my wife right now. And I have like the best life that I could have ever dreamed of. So,
Good for you. I
yeah.
love that. So I want to touch on something. First thing is, I feel like we literally have lived the same life, maybe different timelines.
Okay.
But I think even when we talked, like when we were back and forth during email, I felt like, you know what, that connection is there. Like something, it's gonna come when we
Right.
talk to each other. But I feel like something was there.
Right.
But that's so crazy. I wanted to point that out. But I wanted to go back to the point where you basically said that you never would have thought that you would be going through this and then you kept getting into other relationships, not sitting back and realizing that, is it something within me? That really
Mhm.
hit the spot because I feel like that's where I was just at maybe a good 2 to 3 years. And sometimes it literally may have just hit me within the last year because I've been single for almost 2 years now. But
Okay.
while I was in that relationship, I knew I had no business being in that relationship.
Hmm.
But I just wanted to hold on to it because it was what was comfortable to me. But
Right.
even like within the last year of me being like full blown single and like completely not dating anyone, not having sex with anyone, and things like
Right.
that, I really start to sit back and realize like even after my ex, it was like I was running into guys and I was still in a sense somewhat gullible. I wasn't focused
Hmm.
on what is it that's going on within me that's making me attracted to people. And when that hit me, like literally, I feel like it literally just hit.
It's like a switch, like a
Yeah,
whole switch in your
it's
life.
like
You're like, whoa.
literally turn the nozzle, flip the
Yeah.
switch. You literally
Yeah.
decide to be like, you know what? If I want better, I have to be better for myself. And I
Right.
love that. I love that
Yeah.
you said
Yeah.
that because I
Yeah.
think, and I feel like it's a women thing, and I can only speak on it from a woman's perspective because that's what I am. But I feel like we have that discernment and we know when something's not right, but something in us is causing us to just lean into it, even though we need to be getting away.
Almost desperate in a way because it's
Yeah,
almost like because we just kind of forget who we are because we're pouring everything into this person more than and we love everything like you'll change your whole music genre because this man said he only wants to hear this music. Now that's all you want to listen to and you done forgot and
yeah.
lost yourself. And that happens to women every single day. Like I'm sure what we're talking about is happening to somebody who's listening right now.
Listen, and I talk about it all the time. And I was actually going to add in a question that I know we didn't really discuss, but I'm sure you'll be able to
Of
answer.
course, I'm open. Yeah.
What do you feel like that is in a woman that basically puts off our intuition to satisfy a man? What is your
Oh,
perspective on that?
love. I think we're just love. We're literally just made in love, all love. And we just want love. And then for some, because there are women that are more susceptible to falling in those traps with men and like giving their whole life away. And
Mhm.
that comes from not having a father figure in the home and not really knowing what it feels like to have that kind of love from your dad and know your worth.
Yep.
Because a lot of times they say like, oh, your mom can teach you, but sometimes that's not true. Like your mom can do everything she can, but she's not a man. And then if you want to date a man, you need to know what that man, like what a man is about, and
That
your father's supposed to
mentality.
give that to you. So
Yeah,
I think it
that's
can
what
be
I
your
was.
environment.
I
Yeah.
was hoping that you kind of went down that, and if
Right.
you went another way, that's fine because I'm all open for different perspectives. But I feel like on this podcast, I talk a lot about childhood trauma, development, and growing into the adult that you are based upon the things that you've experienced. And that was actually my story. And in my first book, I wrote about it, and I like kind of introduced my family setting, and I had realized that my dad was actively in my life but he wasn't teaching me the same things that he should have been teaching me. So when he wasn't around, I didn't have that, oh,
Mhm.
well, how should I be getting treated? And then to make it 10 times worse is that I seen the way that he was treating my mom, which wasn't always
Right.
bad,
Right.
but it was enough for me to realize, oh, okay, like they're having problems. I'm young. I don't know what's happening. But whatever it is, my mom keeps staying. And even me being an adult now, me and my mom are able to have these conversations. And she'll say, like, oh, I should have been left, but I was staying for the kids. And
Right.
it makes me kind of be like, I'd be looking at her and I'd be like, why didn't you tell me this? And
Yeah.
she'll look at me and be like, I did. I'm like, yeah, but clearly it was too late. You didn't want to listen. I
No.
literally, and I tell people all the time, really, even as a mother now, like I try to make sure me and my son have open conversation because I feel like a lot of the avoidance of having conversations with me as a mother and a father growing up for my parents, I feel like that would have probably helped me and guide me into another direction. Because even like you said, you had your first kid when you were 19. I had my son when I was 16.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of that comes from just not having the right tools.
Yep.
Just not
And
having the right tools.
And I know from my mom, we had the conversation. We still kind of talk about it here and there, but she also didn't have any guidance either. She lost her mom when
Yeah,
she was 20. So,
right. To humanize our parents as well and realize they have their own
right.
journey as well.
And that's why I literally strive to have this platform to show people how patterns, how trauma, and everything can impact who you are today. And that's why we need to create this space so that
Right.
we can learn how to heal, we can learn how to grow. Because there's literally no guide, no rule book on how to like beat life. Like
Right.
you're gonna go through the challenges regardless.
These are the guides. These kind of
Yes.
podcasts are the guides. People talking and communicating and connecting together
Hmm.
and telling their stories are the guides, you
Yep,
know?
absolutely. I love this. Yes. I literally always wanted a guest, but I think I was just probably stuck in my ways like, oh, well, it's just easier to record myself. But it's so, I feel like this is so welcoming because
Right.
I get to talk to somebody else. It's
Right.
like
That back and forth.
when I
Yeah.
first started the podcast, it was like, oh, it's like I'm chilling on the couch talking to my girl. But it's like, I need some feedback. I need
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
say something to me. So hopefully even incorporating this, and I would love to have you back again. This hair is
Of
like
course. Anytime, girl. We're friends now.
yes. I would love this because we definitely could talk about a lot. We definitely could
Yeah,
talk about
for
a lot.
sure.
My next question I have for you is what habits or routines have helped you step into your best self? I get this question a lot. People say, Sierra, you go to school, you're a full-time business owner, you're a full-time mom. Like, how do you actually
Juggle it.
continue
What
to
makes
push
you right?
yourself? Yeah. So like what's your routine or some habits that you have?
Okay, well, self-care is something I preach all day, all the time. But for
Right.
me, self-care looks different than like the basics, or not the basics, but like the self-care that most people talk about, like reading a book or doing your skincare or working out or whatever, one of those things. For
Hmm.
me, I don't really like to read books. I like to watch ratchet reality shows, okay? And that's self-care for me. Like literally escaping in like a good TV show or a good movie for me is self-care. But what really keeps me grounded is journaling. I do a lot of writing out like my thoughts and I do scrapbook journaling. So I kind of mix in my creativity with it. And that really helps me kind of dive into other things and kind of take my mind off of everything else that I have going on. So I try to do that at least like 3 times a week at least. And outside of that, of course, my skincare routine every night. I have my times. I have a whole routine for my kids so that I can have a routine and I
Right.
can be okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. I honestly, I guess because I'll be so stuck in my regular routines and
Mhm.
habits that I like to do, I would have never thought to do like a scrapbook journal. I might have to take that from you. I
Do
might have to
it.
try that.
Do it. I was like, we need a club.
Right, literally. Because I think people don't realize, like, even when you hear the word self care, self love, like, you think of and I talk about this all the time on the podcast, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, like,
Right.
that's regular stuff.
That's that's
My stuff,
maintenance.
yeah,
Like that's
that's
maintenance.
literally maintenance. But I don't think people realize that, like, especially if you have kids or you're running a business, like, you need that time where you are literally pouring back into yourself. And I always try to tell people, it's really important to kind of go back to your old self when you were a younger kid and what were the things that you'd like to do because that will be something that will kind of relax you and regulate your emotions and your nervous system so that you're actually being calm. And I
Yes.
think people don't realize if you had a definition for self-love, self-care, I would put it as that because people think that it's the outside and you need to really focus on the things that actually internally make you happy.
Yes, girl. Preach.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. It's a sermon right now. Okay.
Listen, I be trying not to preach. I be trying. My mom tells me that all the time. She's like, "You
No,
gonna
I
be
love it. We
one
need to be
day."
preaching this kind of stuff. As a Black woman, like our
Mhm.
community needs to hear it from us, Like it's
Yeah, for
important.
sure.
Especially the
Um,
women.
So I'm going to ask you, it's kind of still the same thing. Is there any habits that you feel like you had to either let go of or start
Mm.
to step into your best self? Because I know we went over the routine part, but I just wonder, like, habit wise, is there anything you stopped or started?
I think for me, I'm like such a people pleaser, and I'm such
Okay.
a I always because my whole business is giving myself, and then even in my family, it's natural for me, and that's what started my business. It's like I'm a nurturer. I'm always checking in on every single family member. I'm
Mhm.
always, and so I kind of like started setting more boundaries for myself where
Okay.
I don't need to check on every single person. Like they know I'm there because I've always been there. So like I need to start focusing a little bit more on myself and letting people come to me as they need me. And like, so that I kept putting too much out of myself and it was leaving me sad and burnt out if people weren't responding or this or that. And it was like I was creating a whole thing that just wasn't necessary. So I had to let that go. Like they're right there. They know I love them. Like,
I'm literally the same person.
what's your sign?
I'm a Libra.
Okay, I'm a Pisces, so we're a little different in the sign, but
I have
but
a best friend that's a Pisces.
okay, okay.
She definitely one of my wilder friends. She definitely watching the Ratchet TV. But we best friends. We've been best friends for some time now.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
but no, the part where you basically said like doing I lost my train of thought that fast. I hate when I do.
I'm so sorry. We're gonna cut this part out, edit it out.
No, listen, I'm real listen, we create space for healing, growth,
Yes.
authenticity. Y'all gonna see the real me.
Honest. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I honestly and truly forgot my thought process, but
Hmm.
okay, your habit basically was setting the boundary and not.
I was needing to set the boundary. Right.
So I had to do that for myself because I am a giver myself too.
Okay.
And I don't know, have this thing where I always want to fix people.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if a person needs me, then
Yes.
let me sit by the phone and listen to you talk about your boyfriend and how he did you wrong. And knowing that this is mentally draining me or knowing that I should be doing something else, I'm going to sit here so that we can find a solution. I literally had to tell myself, like, even to my friends, my mom, well, I don't have no significant other now, but I know moving into that, when that time comes, like, I'm still going to have that boundary within myself because I am a giver and I will constantly give. And then I'll be mad and annoyed when I need something and nobody's around. But I have a toxic trait where I won't even tell nobody what I need.
Oh my God. Why are we the same? That is it. Whenever anybody asks me what's something I need to work on, just even as a life coach, as a mom, as a human being, woman, it's always that. Like, I don't ask for help for nothing. I will suffer to death. I will
I'm
never tell my
learning
friends that I'm
now. I'm
stressed.
learning.
My friends don't know that I'm stressed, that I'm crying, that I'm struggling. But I'm always like, girl, you ain't telling me you was stressed. But like,
Mhm.
I'm never the one that will go to somebody and like, that's something I need to work on. And I think it's just like a thing because I don't want to be a burden to people. Whereas, and they be like, but I'm never a burden to you. And I'm just like, for
Right.
me, it makes me feel like I'm like, maybe you're having a great day and here I come telling you, girl, look what happened to me. Like, and I just don't want to be that person, although I'm okay with people doing that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and I think it's more of a like a psychology thing. Like in our mind, we think that we have to be strong. We have to be that
Because we
strength
always
out of
are.
that group. So,
Right.
but it's really just like a mind thing. You really have to tell yourself, like, just as much as your friends look for you to, reach out to them and, pour their heart out, you have the right to do the same thing. And if
Right.
you
That's what
ever
I'm
are in that situation, and this is for anybody listening, not just you in particular, but if you ever feel like you can't reach out or tell somebody something, then that person ain't for you.
Yeah.
That
100%.
person ain't for you. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes the gut feeling is just like, oh, I don't want to ask. Because I literally hate asking my friends for anything. And it could be the smallest thing. Like, I
Me
can't
too,
do
girl.
it. But then I have to tell myself, you know what? They wouldn't skip a heartbeat to
That
ask
is
you
my
for
biggest
anything.
struggle. That's the one thing that no matter how much I say I'm going to change it, it's just not changing. Like
Yeah.
that's probably the one thing that I need to really just keep working on and just like forcing myself out of that feeling because that's the way you change is to just force yourself to do that action that makes you feel like just do it.
And I wouldn't even say force because that word may scare somebody, but
Okay.
more so
Ease
just
your way into
get a
it.
little uncomfortable. I
Right.
feel like that would scare somebody saying force, but a person like me and you, that will actually apply
Yeah.
pressure and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gonna
Just kind of like faking it until you make it kind of thing. Like you're
yeah,
just kind of acting like you can do that, even though in your heart you're like, just like go confidently and do it. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. I love this. So the next question is, how do you prioritize peace without feeling guilty?
how do I prioritize peace without feeling guilty? Well, I think it goes back to the same boundaries thing. Is like I've realized what it looks like for me to be burnt out and not be able to give that same good energy because I'm like half dead now. My mental is drained. I feel moody. I'm irritable. So now I'm being short with you and all that. So I know that in order for me to like I need to be okay with feeling guilty in this moment because I need time. Whether it's mommy is telling you I need a little time, or I can't answer this email right now, I can't take this client because I need time. And it's not, I don't feel guilty because I know I'm going to come back better for you as a client, mom, or whatever. So yeah, I try
Yeah, and
not to.
just as I was reading it, I was like, I feel like we just talked about it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I try my best not to feel guilty, but as a mom, especially, like guilt is gonna always be there. Like it's
Right. And it's so funny because I have another podcast that I do with a partner where it's more so like Moms Unfiltered. I'm actually going to plug
okay.
into that because we could probably
Yes.
talk a lot about that too,
Yeah.
as having you as a guest. But our first episode we've recorded ever because we just created the collaboration. And she asked me that question. She was like, do you feel like you have mom guilt?" And I was like, to be honest, no, I don't think I'm the mom that has ever experienced that. But then I start to realize, like, when I put my son on punishment, that, okay, now I'm ready to give in. And I was like, oh my
That's
God.
guilt right there.
I was like, oh my God. Like, this
That's
is
the
actually a
guilt.
real thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's easier for me to feel the same way that you feel when it comes to friends and prioritizing my peace. Like, I may not have the capacity, and that's really the question that I ask myself. That kind of puts the guilt to the side because
Right.
I always ask myself, like, do I have the mental capacity for this? Like,
Right.
am I even
Exactly.
emotionally stable to try to give you some
Exactly.
type of
Exactly.
and if not, if
Exactly.
the answer is no, then I'll either text them or if they calling me, I'll ignore the call and send a text like, "Hey, can't talk right now." And it's so funny because
Exactly.
I've set that boundary for so long now. My one best friend, she'll literally say, "Do you have the capacity?" And I
I love
respond
it.
because she
Love
knows,
it.
like, because she's a friend where, and I love her dearly, but she knows that she'll call and just dump, 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 dump.
Right.
And we
Right.
ended up having a conversation about it like years ago, and we've just now agreed that you know what, let's actually decide to ask each other, do you have the bandwidth to have this conversation?
Right. Right. I love that. I really love that. That's an honest friendship. I think that more friendships need to have that kind of like honest, open communication because
For sure.
a lot of people are suffering in their friendships.
Yes, yes. And that's the scary thing about it because I don't, and I see that so much. I feel like on threads, people are like, "Oh, well, we're the girls that really like, are real friends," and I'm just like,
Engaged. Mhm.
"Friends do y'all have?" It's just like, I don't know, but then again, if you don't know what's a good friend, then that's all you're going to go
Exactly.
after and chase, and a lot of times it could be something internally wrong with you that is
True,
the
true. Well,
people.
I mean, I'd be on there asking for engaging girlies, but I'm just trying to get my
Well, yeah,
followers.
yeah, I know your
I
point.
can't have a lot of friends. Like I literally have like two friends. So my energy is so like sensitive that I just kind of
Yeah.
keep like I have a lot of people that I know I'm cool with, but not like so I put a lot of effort into them. I just can't. I'm too sensitive. So I just, yeah, you have to know your limits.
Yeah. See, I'm a friendly person, but I also feel like people look at me and because what they say, like the resting bitch face, they look
Hmm.
at me and feel like they can approach me. I'd be
Hmm.
like, I'm really nice. But then my friends tell me I'm mean. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm not.
I feel like that face saves us. Like people
Yeah,
know,
I'm a
like
lot.
it filters us out. Like not everybody's gonna come up in our face. Because if you sit out there smiley, everybody wants to be in your face, and it's hard to like filter out these people. So
Yeah,
keep
because
that face, girl. Keep that face.
listen, I strive to soften up a little bit because I know, like with men, they probably be like, "This girl, I'm not even about to go at." I remember, I'm trying. I feel like I've been hard body all my life,
Right.
but it's probably just like a defense mechanism. Like I'm
You
just,
had to be, right? You
yeah,
had
and it's like I'm so ready to be a soft girl.
to. Right. Oh my God.
All right, so this is actually the last question. I feel like we've been talking for so long, and I want
I
to talk.
know. I love it. I love it.
If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? I love this question.
Okay, I actually asked this question in my women's group last month,
Okay.
which I have a women's group, by the way, so you should join. We join monthly, it's online. But anyways, my answer is that I would tell myself that because my name is Chatty,
Mhm.
And the name, it's actually not my real name, of course, but this name came from me being such a talkative child and always being told that I talk too much or my stories are too long or the teacher saying I'm talking too much and me kind of wanting to turn that into something positive. So I would tell my younger self, like, don't worry. I know you're hearing a lot of stuff about you being too talkative and you just really want to communicate and tell your story. It's okay. You're going to have a big platform later and you're going to create a whole business based off of this chattiness that you have. So stay confident and don't ever give it up. That's literally what I tell myself. And for the people out there, like, I would tell you guys, your younger selves, like you and every other woman out there is like, keep remembering all the good stuff, the good things and successes, and even the tiny things that you've accomplished. Never forget them and always remind yourself of those things because that's what's going to keep you confident and strong as you get older.
Absolutely. I love that. Listen, she just closed out the episode. I don't even want to say nothing else because I feel like that was just perfect. Because I literally was going to ask you, like, do you have any encouraging words to close out the episode? But you just did it. You,
Aw, thank you.
I love that. Y'all, this has been a very short episode, I feel like, but I don't know how long we've been going.
I don't know either. Maybe 30 minutes about.
Okay, so not too
Uh,
bad. But
I'll be back. I'm gonna be back. Y'all gonna
as
hear
I
chat.
say, we're definitely going to have her back. I feel like we could get into so much more.
Yeah.
But just for this one, like we really talk about how healing is healthy for you and it's really fundamental and it's important for your lifestyle. And honestly, continuously telling your younger self and even your current self today that you're going to get through the situation if you feel like at this moment in time, whatever it is that you may be going through, because you may be like, these two hoes is chipper and I'm over here down and out. I promise you, it's gonna get better.
Girl, and we be down and out too. We're not always chipper. We're human just like you. So it's about learning how to get through that, you know?
Listen, and I was just telling you before we started, I'm like, I had to get a nap in because I wasn't gonna make it. So don't think that we just high and vibrant.
Exactly. Girl, I brushed my hair so quick to get on here. I was laid up too, so it's not a lie. It's okay. It's okay.
Listen, we are all human. But I thank you so much for joining. We definitely will have you back. And guys, if you have not, make sure you leave a rating and review because without your rating and reviews, we will not be seen to people and known to people who need things just like you using this platform. So I hope that y'all have enjoyed this episode. Chatty came and shut it down with her
Thank you so much for
encouraging
having
words.
me. Thank you for
Um, but
having
yeah,
me.
that's pretty much all I have for you guys. And we will be resuming with the regular scheduled episodes. I don't even know when we drop in this one, so when y'all get it, there will be more following up. But I hope that y'all enjoyed this episode and make sure y'all share this with a friend because why not? Let's encourage some other women to get into this episode and understand Chatty and my voice and what we have to talk about. Chatty, before we go, can you plug in your social media so that they can find you?
Oh, so if you're looking to book you want to see my coaching information and coaching business, or join the women's group or any of that stuff, it's
Okay.
at Chatty Wellness on Instagram. And it's at Chatty Mother everywhere else.
Okay.
On TikTok, yeah.
And I will plug all of those in the description box on YouTube and also on the podcast show notes. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it and bye.